Hi, we're in a new gate. We are in gate 28. This is the gate of the game player, and it is the first line called preparation. The gate of the game player, the preponderance of the great. This is an individual process. This is the movement of the sun away from the gate of values, the 50th gate, and into the first line of the 28. In order for tribal values to succeed, the first step is to be prepared. And this is what we find in the first line of the 28. It is called preparation. The first line is introspective. And we know that about the nature of all first lines. It's looking inward, and the 28 one wants to be effective. It's very similar to the 32 one, which says a life-sustaining respect and attention to all aspects of a process. And we're talking about the same process here. The 28th gate is the beginning of the intuitive process. It is a gate of deep acoustic potential. It hears very well, and it hears according to its intuition. It's very different from the 57, which is in the same stream. The 38, 28, 57, 20, it's all part of the stream of intuition. But the 57 is the right ear. And it's a very different kind of hearing. In the 28, we find listening. The 57 hears, the 28 listens. This is the taking in. 28th gate, because of course we're still here in the splenic system for a little while longer, it's another fear gate, and it's the fear of death. This is its title as a fear, but that's not its process as a fear, because it is the fear of death in the sense that it is the fear that life will not be of value. So we've come from the 50th gate of values and the establishing of the perfect value that can become leadership. We saw that in the 6th line. And here in the 28, we come to the gate where values are the most important thing. If your life isn't of value and you're a 28, you're not going to be interested in life. Life can be very uncomfortable. And remember that all individual gates carry melancholy as part of their theme. This is a melancholic gate that goes between happiness and sadness as a chemistry. In the exaltation, it says the desire to be effective manifested in the application of energy to detail, the intuition to potentially apply energy to detail. So it's really about listening without acting. This is the gate of risk-taking. You have to pay attention. This is not blind risk-taking. You know, emotions on the other side of the body graph, they make you blind. But the splenic, oh no. No, the splenic is there to give you moment-by-moment clarity. Because in order to be ready to take a risk or to have the potential to take a risk, you have to be attentive. You have to pay attention. In the detriment, the aesthetic appreciation of planning that may have no real application, and intuition for detail without the potential for application. If your life doesn't seem to be of value, it seems pointless to try to figure out what you can do. And although the 28 is pointing at the root, it is not a motor gate itself. And gates in centers that are not motors, they can suffer a lot of frustration because they want to find the juice. They want the energy. So the 28 is always looking for the 38. And it says, I can't take a risk unless I have the power to struggle. I can't take that risk unless I have this fighting energy pressurizing me. The first line here is all about being prepared. First lines always are. They're about the foundation, digging in, investigating. They want to know because that's where survival comes, and first lines are also all about survival. So in this gate of the game player and the risk taker, the first line has to set the foundation for that. What kind of risk do you want to take? And you'd better make sure you have your detail. What can happen is that what looks like a detriment isn't a detriment at all. What that means is that, you go through all the detail, but you don't actually want to take the risk. due to what you've discovered or investigated or found out. It was just interesting to go through the detail. When it comes to making a risk, you make sure that you've got all of that detail before you jump in. Be prepared. I mean, truly, this is not about jumping into anything blind. The grounding comes from the Sacral Gate 27, and the first line is called selfishness. The first law of caring is to be selfish. The 28 is an individual gate, and it can be prone to selfishness, or at least to looking to looking selfish, to look selfish. Yeah, one of them. It can be prone to looking selfish. That doesn't sound right, does it? Anyway, you know what I mean. Other people can perceive the 28 as being selfish because it's on its own path, it's doing its own thing. It's finding its own value in life. It is stubborn, it is deaf, even though it's also listening. So selfishness isn't a bad thing. Selfishness supports it. The 27 here supports the 28 beautifully. Enlightened selfishness, this is something we hear about in human design, and it can be a beautiful thing, a very authentic and empowering thing. So the moon has been in gate 33 since 2054 this evening. This is the gate of privacy and retreat. It's a throat gate, and it moves into gate 7 at 7:46 tomorrow morning. This takes us back over to the logical side of the body graph, and we are in the G center. It's the harmonic to the 31, which we explored yesterday or earlier this morning. This is the gate of the army, the role of the self, and it is a role gate. It gives us the roles of the leader. And so we find an authoritarian, democrat, the anarchist, the abdicator, the general, and the administrator. The role gates are fascinating. Gate 7 is often referred to as the power behind the throne, influencing the influential gate 31. And that's it for moons and so on today, because we looked at everything else earlier on when we explored the 50 and the line 6. So that's us done for today. I will see you again tomorrow for the second line in this new gate of the game player. Until then, as always, take your risks through your strategy and authority and go gently.